They built dream cars together, but working with Richard Rawlings, that was a nightmare for some. From blowups to breakups, these fast and loud stars couldn't see eye to eye with the Gas Monkey mastermind. Richard Rawlings and Gas Monkey Garage lawsuit. Gas Monkey Garage, which is owned by entrepreneur Richard Rawlings, was established in Dallas, Texas in 2004. The shop became well known thanks to the Discovery Channel show Fast and Loud, which has been the channel's top show for the past 12 years. They specialize in customizing classic and hot rod cars and have built a global reputation for their careful attention to detail and creative methods in automotive projects. In addition to Fast and Loud, other TV shows like Misfit Garage, Garage Rehab, Demolition Theater, and Shop Class have been created with Rawlings serving as the creative director and executive producer. Throughout the years, Gas Monkey Garage has collaborated with various brands such as Dodge, Garage Beer, Dickies, Gorilla Pro, and has also worked with NASCAR, several NHRA drag racing teams, and the upcoming AMA TT race in Sturgis. Currently, Gas Monkey Garage releases multiple episodes of their automotive projects each week on their YouTube channel and social media platforms. Richard Rawlings, an American entrepreneur, TV personality, and car lover, started Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas, Texas in 2004. The garage gained worldwide fame through the Discovery Channel's reality show Fast and Loud, which debuted in 2012 and highlighted Richard's love for restoring and flipping classic cars. While managing several restaurants and venues, launching his own tequila and energy drink, creating a global apparel brand, and sponsoring top names in motorsport racing, Richard Rawlings is well known for diving into projects he's passionate about, without hesitation. Gas Monkey Bar has filed a $6 million defamation lawsuit against its founder and TV star, Richard Rawlings. According to the lawsuit, issues with Rawlings started even before the bar opened its doors 5 years earlier. The well-known Dallas eatery and music spot, Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, is taking legal action against its founder, Richard Rawlings, for defamation and for what they claim are intentional and misleading efforts to escape his contract, as stated in a lawsuit. The lawsuit, which demands $6 million in damages, was submitted on Thursday by the bar and its managing member, Daniel Flaherty, targeting Rawlings, the production company behind his Discovery Channel reality car show Fast and Loud, and Gas Monkey Holdings. Rawlings' attorney mentioned in a statement that the allegations lack validity. Richard Rawlings established the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill on Technology Boulevard in Northwest Dallas back in 2013. Issues with Rawlings reportedly started even before the bar, located near his Gas Monkey Garage, opened its doors 5 years earlier, according to the lawsuit. While the bar was being built, employee Tim Hinkhouse sent an email in May 2013 stating that Richard has been very disruptive. His treatment of the construction workers was completely unacceptable. His actions resemble those of a spoiled 13-year-old, as per the lawsuit. After multiple times of Rawlings interrupting and stopping construction, the lawsuit claims Flaherty prohibited him from the construction site so the work could finally be finished. Since the bar and music venue opened in September 2013, Rawlings has repeatedly attempted to involve himself in their operations and take control from Flaherty, as stated in the lawsuit. The lawsuit also claims that Rawlings has made slanderous remarks about the bar and has put forth groundless accusations that Flaherty, who resides in Coppell, was stealing from him. In 2015, Rawlings sent an email to Flaherty regarding incomplete or missing financial documents, according to the lawsuit. Flaherty replied by inviting Rawlings to come and review the records himself, but Rawlings stated he doubted the records were even there. The lawsuit mentions that Rawlings made defamatory comments about Flaherty and the bar to others, and that Flaherty confronted Rawlings about this in an email he sent on July 21, 2016, which stated that Richard criticized him for being dishonest and stealing from him. He told Richard he was welcome to audit the books whenever he wanted. In 2017, when a buyer from outside was close to sealing a deal to get the rights to Gas Monkey Bar and Grill and Gas Monkey Live, the lawsuit claims that Rawlings accused Flaherty and the bar of being dishonest and taking his money, which led to the deal falling apart. This happened after Rawlings attempted to purchase the rights to the bar and music venue himself in 2016, but couldn't do it due to a lack of funds, according to the suit. The lawsuit also states that Rawlings and Pilgrim Films and Television are thinking about starting their own Gas Monkey-themed entertainment venue in Connecticut. One of his most expensive feuds came from within his own brand. Even in his own garage, things were not so smooth. Can Richard manage the conflicts? Let's find out. The studios didn't want Richard. When Richard Rawlings thought of a show featuring a garage full of guys flipping cars, he had a clear plan in mind. He wasn't just thinking about the short term, he viewed a successful TV show as a stepping stone. Fast and Loud was meant to be a launch pad for all his other business ventures. Rawlings understood that for this show to thrive, it needed to stand out from the rest. He aimed for this car show to attract everyone, men, women, older folks, and younger viewers. He wanted it to be something that car enthusiasts would love, but also something his girlfriend would enjoy. It wasn't just for car lovers, but for the entire family. This approach was different from most shows at the time, which is why studios were hesitant. After 8 years of pitching his idea, Rawlings finally convinced Craig Kaufman, the senior VP of Discovery Channel, to approve the show. Rawlings admits that they might have given him the green light just to get him to stop bothering them. Kaufman remarked that Richard was probably the most aggressive entrepreneur he had ever worked with. The owner of GMG is always brainstorming new investment ideas or products to market. He's a savvy business owner who knows how to promote his brand exceptionally well. He even has the Gas Monkey name displayed on the roof of his building to catch the attention of passing aircraft. Richard Rawlings' feud with Jesse James. Richard Rawlings takes another shot at Jesse James by selling his old bike. It's probably fair to say that if Richard Rawlings, the star of Fast and Loud, wasn't busy with Restomods, he would be getting into all kinds of trouble. This gearhead, who has a bit of a wild side, has done some impulsive things, like trying to buy an old Dodge 800 van right in the street and firing off a few rounds as part of a 3-car bid in Texas. This guy has a vibe that's a mix of Dukes of Hazzard and Trailer Park Boys, which has led to some issues, especially with his ongoing rivalry with Jesse James. A video that came out on Thursday showed that their feud is still alive and well after Rawlings took another jab at the outlaw garage star during a car auction in Auburn, Indiana. The event took place at the Cannonberg Collection, which was an auction featuring cars and motorbikes on the weekend of September 10, organized by Rawlings's Gas Monkey Garage. Rawlings had purchased the whole collection from the famous flat racer Denny Cannonball Cannonberg, but he wanted to sell it off because, as he put it, he could really use the cash. On the last day of the auction, there were many items available for bidding, including a few Indian motorcycles, Kawasaki triples, and a 1969 Corvette 427 ZL1. However, one item caught everyone's attention, and it was a bit questionable whether it even belonged to Cannonberg's collection. In fact, it wasn't even a motorcycle. It was a bicycle that had once belonged to James. Rawlings jokingly included this item in the auction, but to his astonishment, the bids quickly climbed to $800. Rawlings exclaimed with his usual loud laughter, "We're breaking world records here!" It's tough to determine who really had the last laugh in this situation. Perhaps it was James, who has enough fans willing to pay $800 for a childhood item. Or maybe it was Rawlings, who still gets to keep all the money while trying to make his rival look bad in public. Regardless, this shows that the rivalry between the two is still very much alive. It all began in 2007 when James and Rawlings teamed up for the show Biker Build-Off. Rawlings frequently made James the target of his jokes, some of which made it through editing, like the one where he joked about James being in Texas to act like a Texan. At one point, James retaliated by having bikers dump a truckload of manure on Gas Monkey's property. However, things took a turn for the worse when Rawlings mocked his partner's relationship with Sandra Bullock and spread rumors that James was leaving the bike business. The incident with the bike brought some laughs for Rawlings, but he also scored some amazing deals during the auction. A 1953 Harley-Davidson KR sold for $26,000, A 1942 Indian 4 with a sidecar went for $135,000, and that Corvette was sold for $65,000. By the end of the video, Rawlings was unsure about how much they made over the last 2 days, but he seemed pleased that the collection brought in some money, even if it was somewhat at James's expense. And just when the tension cooled off, Rawlings found himself in a new rivalry, this time with cast members of a show. Richard and Misfit Garage cast members. Misfit Garage is a reality TV show about car restoration that was shown on the Discovery Channel. It features Tom Smith and Jordan Butler, who after getting fired from the Fast and Loud's Gas Monkey Garage, team up with mechanics Thomas Weeks and Scott McMillan to create a new garage called Fired Up Garage. The cast changes frequently, including mechanics and car artists like Kevin Clark and John Klump, as well as Richard Rawlings, the owner of Gas Monkey Garage and a producer of the show. Each episode showcases old cars, either brought in by customers or found during scouting trips, and these cars are restored using either classic or innovative techniques by the skilled mechanics at Fired Up Garage. The show also includes reality TV elements such as ongoing arguments among the cast, mechanical issues, and constant conflicts with Richard Rawlings from Gas Monkey. It's no wonder that at times the show feels like a soap opera. While fans might believe they know everything about Fired Up Garage, there are actually many hidden tools in the toolbox. Here are some fascinating and cool facts about Misfit Garage. The main cast of Misfit Garage includes Tom Smith and Jordan Butler, who were once part of Gas Monkey Garage on the show Fast and Loud. In February 2014, Tom Smith told TMZ reporters that he was let go from Gas Monkey Garage after he cursed at the manager on duty. This argument happened after Tom Smith and Jordan Butler let a fan take a picture with Richard Rawlings' Rolls-Royce without asking for permission. Later, the Discovery Channel gave the unemployed duo a chance to create their own show, which was still produced by Pilgrim Studios. Even though Fired Up Garage says it operates independently from Gas Monkey Garage, Richard Rawlings still has a lot of control over Fired Up Garage, including being the landlord, which was clear right from the beginning of the show in Season 1, Episode 1. Plus, Richard Rawlings is also the executive producer of the show. As the executive producer, Richard Rawlings has the power to oversee the artistic direction, which means he can influence the cars that are worked on in the shop and how each car gets modified. To make things even more complicated, Richard Rawlings is also in charge of the budget, which means he decides how much money is spent on each project, how that money is allocated in the garage, and how the show is promoted and marketed. In Season 1, Episode 2, the Fired Up crew disclosed that Richard Rawlings was not just their previous boss, but also their landlord, which created noticeable tension, especially when they had to meet build deadlines while he was overseeing everything. What started as a support system soon turned into a rivalry. Richard, being both the landlord and the executive producer, had the power to affect their builds, budgets, and deadlines. As time went on, this dual role made things confusing. Richard was involved in producing the show, but he also had a vested interest in how well the Fired Up team did, or didn't do, compared to his own Gas Monkey Garage. The cast members felt overlooked and under pressure, stuck between wanting to do well and feeling like they were being monitored by someone linked to their firing. In the end, it became obvious that the team wasn't just leaving Gas Monkey, they were stepping into a garage where Richard was still pulling the strings behind the scenes. Richard Rawlings fired the mechanics, became their landlord and executive producer. Richard and Aaron Kaufman. There's no denying that Discovery's Fast and Loud was one of the most beloved car shows on television. The show showcased incredible car builds and entertaining storylines, but a major reason for its success was the camaraderie and collaboration between Richard Rawlings and Aaron Kaufman. Fans enjoyed seeing these two work together. It felt like everything clicked when they were a team. However, everything shifted in 2017 when Aaron Kaufman unexpectedly left the show. His departure caught many off guard and left fans with more questions than answers. Why did he leave? Was there a conflict between him and Richard? What is he up to now? Now that several years have passed since he left, it's a great time to examine what really transpired. Even though fans are always eager to know what happens behind the scenes of their favorite reality TV shows, the reality is that we seldom get the complete picture. Most of the time, the audience only sees a fraction of what's truly going on when the cameras aren't rolling. When discussing Aaron Kaufman and Richard Rawlings, we can only speculate about what truly caused their professional split based on their own statements. Kaufman mentioned to Art of Gears in early 2017 that one reason he departed from Rawlings' business, Gas Monkey Garage, and the related show was his discomfort with the builds showcased, along with the pressure to meet TV's time and budget constraints, in addition to some growing personal issues and professional differences of opinions. It's unclear if these issues were directly tied to his former boss, but Rawlings acknowledged that things had been tough before Kaufman left. Kaufman stated that Richard unhappy because he had these other ideas, and he was unhappy because Richard was unhappy, which was making everything else miserable, he shared in 2018. A frequently asked question regarding Aaron and Richard is about the nature of their personal relationship before Aaron's departure from the show. Unfortunately for the devoted fans of both individuals, it seems they were never really friends to start with. In a 2018 interview with D Magazine, Rawlings spoke about this issue directly, stating, "He was just my employee from the time he was 20 until 2 years ago. 14 years. But we didn't hang out outside of work." Kaufman mentioned in the same interview that their personal differences supposedly made them incompatible. While it might be a letdown to realize that Kaufman and Rawlings were never friends, despite working together and being on TV for so many years, their comments on this matter not only clarify some reasons behind Kaufman's departure from Gas Monkey Garage, but also show that parting ways was a logical outcome of their relationship. Aaron expressed his frustration with the projects on Fast and Loud during an interview with Art of Gears in early 2017. He said that the project he was involved in for the episode Hot Off the Pantera was the bottom end of the builds he wanted to tackle, due to the constraints and pressure that affected him and his team professionally. The difficulty level of the car, it surpasses what can be done on TV in time and budget, he remarked, highlighting how adapting to the producer's demands was pulling him away from his own creative vision. "I wanted to build cars that were that big or bigger, and then TV needed cars that were much smaller than that." Feeling unsatisfied with the direction of the Fast and Loud projects, Aaron launched his own business, ArcLight Fabrication, where he offered technical services and parts for Ford trucks. Even though fans were disappointed not to see him at Gas Monkey Garage anymore, they warmly embraced his new venture. But Aaron wasn't the only one who clashed with Rawlings. What could be the cause of these conflicts? Let's find out. Clashes over staged races. Richard Rawlings, known for Fast and Loud, found himself in some intense drama during the mega race events, particularly with the Street Outlaws crew. In the first mega race, Richard partnered with pro driver Alex Laughlin and brought a car named the Crow to compete. Then, in the second mega race, Street Outlaws racer Ryan Martin arrived with his Fireball Camaro to challenge Richard's team again. Unfortunately, Richard and his team lost both races. Tensions rose because some of the Street Outlaws guys were reluctant to race Richard at the beginning. They accused him of cheating and not being fair. The atmosphere was obvious. They viewed Richard as the rich TV star trying to buy his way to victory, while they considered themselves the genuine, down-to-earth racers. It felt like a plot from a movie, the real street racers against the sneaky rich guy. And the street racers triumphed both times. Richard Rawlings discovered that having money and hiring a talented driver doesn't guarantee a win. You can't purchase street credibility, and in the racing world, experience, passion, and true grit are far more important than just wealth and fame. Richard Rawlings was born in 1969 in Fort Worth, Texas. As a child, he had a passion for cars. He frequently attended car shows with his father and even began constructing cars on his own. At the age of 14, he purchased his first vehicle. A few years later, he graduated from Eastern Hills High School. In 1993, Rawlings married a woman named Karen K. Grames, but their marriage only lasted a year and they divorced in 1994. In 1999, he launched a business called Lincoln Press, which specialized in printing and advertising. That same year, he married again, this time to Suzanne Marie Mergel. They tied the knot in Las Vegas. However, in 2009, they divorced. Later in 2015, Richard and Suzanne chose to rekindle their relationship and got remarried. Sadly, things didn't work out once more. On March 11, 2019, Richard took to Twitter to announce that they were separating and getting divorced again. In 2002, Rawlings started Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas and sold Lincoln Press in 2004. The garage specializes in customizing classic and hot rod cars for clients all over the world. From 2012 to 2020, the business was featured in the Discovery Channel series Fast and Loud. Fast and Loud is a reality-style TV show on the Discovery Channel that showcases Richard Rawlings and his team from Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas, Texas, as they hunt for old and worn-out cars to restore and sell for a profit. The show had a great start in its first season. It also spawned a spin-off called Misfit Garage and Fast and Loud Demolition Theater, where Richard and other staff, along with the victims of the clips, watch the episodes and share their thoughts. Rawlings and former GMG mechanic Aaron Kaufman were invited to take part in a motorcycle build-off against well-known bike builders like Orange County Choppers, Paul Jr., Designs, and Jesse James. In the end, Rawlings and Kaufman finished second to Paul Jr., with James taking third place. Fast and Loud is made for Discovery by Pilgrim Studios, with Craig Piligian and Eddie Rowetter as the executive producers. The drama surrounding the show goes beyond just Rawlings' antics both on and off the screen. The producers found themselves in hot water after showcasing the Fast and Loud's Shart Cat, a modified Dodge Dart. While reality TV often stretches the truth, it seems the Fast and Loud team may have crossed a line with this one. Riddled with technical issues, the Shart Cat faced significant transmission problems that the production crew downplayed. More importantly, the Shart car needed a complete teardown and reassembly of its computer components. This task was handled by Diablo Sport, but the production team made it look like this complex job was done in a flash, suggesting that such a rebuild was easy, which was far from reality. The brief history of Fast and Loud is filled with both on-screen and off-screen drama, enough firings to create an entire spin-off series, and one very problematic Shart Cat.